start marching into this process of hiring a new city attorney, we are all keenly aware that it will take 6 votes of the 9 of us to hire, and we're all keenly aware that it would take 6 votes of 9 of us to fire. And I don't think that represents the spirit of representative government. And so I'd like to propose a charter change, and in order to do that, I would like to ask our city attorney to draft language for us. As you read the charter, the way to change the charter is either through a citizen initiative, which we have seen up front and personal, or through the council to refer a measure to the voters for specifically to change the charter. In fact, that's the only thing we can refer to the voters legally is a charter change. And so the 2 sections of our charter are section 8.1A that says the city council, by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire council, shall appoint a city manager to serve at the pleasure of a council. And subsection E of that same section 8.1, the removal of the city manager shall require the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire council. And then section 9.1 talks about our city attorney. It's the same language. The city council, by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire council, shall appoint a city attorney to serve at the pleasure of the council. And D, under that same section, the removal of the city attorney shall require the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire council. I'd like to have the proposal come back to us for consideration for the November ballot, that we ask the voters if that can be changed. And I believe the change ought to reflect that a majority, not a supermajority, but a majority of the council should have the ability to hire and, if need be, fire the 2 top executives of city government. Again, this isn't about Bill Cahill. It's more about the city attorney position that's coming up. Our last city attorney, to my displeasure, I speak simply for myself, fired off, first of all, decided to take an issue to the Supreme Court that probably he would have taken without council consent approval if it hadn't been brought to his attention that why are you doing this. Fired off a brief to the district court that caused all kinds of havoc with the public and subjected us to hours of countless testimony from citizens, because none of us knew anything about his brief to the court until after we started reading about it in the newspaper, hearing about it through public testimony. And quite honestly, I don't think the supermajority provision for a city manager and city attorney reflect the spirit of elective office. First of all, the city manager form of government is not necessarily the best form of government when it comes to addressing the concerns of the community or of citizens. I'm not suggesting we have a strong mayor yet, but nonetheless, I mean, that's a form of government that some cities have adopted, where somebody's accountable. Each one of us up here was elected by a majority of people in our ward, and our mayor was elected by the majority of the people, and yet those of us who are elected by majorities are ineffective to really affect change if we should have a city manager or a city attorney who chooses to do his own thing. The reality of the supermajority is that if Bill Cahill or the city manager-to-be decided to go and do what they wanted, they really have to appease 4 people. And that's counterintuitive to majority rule, majority ability to persuade change. And so at this point, all I'm asking for is the consent of 3 other members of council so that the city attorney can draft something for us to chew on at our first meeting in July. And if it was something that we decided to take on, to send out to the voters, we wouldn't put our city clerk in a timeline bind such as what we've previously done. And so I don't know if I've got other support, but I would like to know if I've got 4. So.
Yeah, I'd like to make a quick comment. You talked about the 2 direct reports to council.
Right.
I'm surprised it's not all 3.
Well, it is.
This is what.
But the judge is different, you see, because he's on a contract, and it will take 6 votes for that contract to be renewed come January. And so that's a little bit different, because there's an ability every other year for the council to review and to make changes. I just didn't think the judge is different because it's not a hire or fire at the pleasure. The city attorney and the city manager specifically say shall serve at the pleasure of the council. The judge position is a 2-year contract, and there's language in our charter that says if we remove him during the 2-year period of the contract, it has to be for cause, and we would have contractual obligations at that point. So it's a different animal, although in the same species.
It also seems to me to be kind of a power grab, and I just don't understand why we do it.
Okay. Well, I guess that'd be part of the discussion we would have.
I think I saw 3 others.
All right.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear that. And